You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 200.3, the Colts Report with Eli Edwards, the free agency edition. Not officially the first day of free agency on Monday, but it was the first day that teams could contact players, and a lot of announcements were made, including a couple of big Colts moves. Eli Edwards, our new Colts and NFL guy, we'll be talking about all of it coming up.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengel.
I believe so.
Back here at Ball State University at Studebaker, here with Eli Edwards, member of the Ball State football team, former Eastern Comet, and now the Colts Guy on the Central Indiana Sports Report. A lot to talk about today, Eli, with free agency opening, including the Colts making a move. Actually, a couple, if you include the re-signing of Braden Smith, which probably is a solid signing. We'll see. When he's been healthy, he's been pretty good. Yeah. So we will talk about the other signing coming up here real fast. Then we'll go through a bunch of moves in the NFL. Tell me what you think. If any of them you feel like is a game changer, can elevate a team to the next level. For example, DK Metcalf going to the Steelers being an example. Of course, that was a trade, but Deebo Samuel going to Washington. Washington, of course, made another trade today. We'll go through all of that, and we will get your opinions. First, I want to say, hey, everybody, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got lots of cool stuff there. All of our podcast stream there. We're going to do some YouTube exclusive stuff. So even if you're already subscribed at Amazon, Apple, SoundCloud, or Spotify, please go to our YouTube channel. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. We are really easy to find. And now I'm going to go through some of these moves and start, of course, with the Colts, who have signed a starting safety. According to Pro Football Reference, is about a C- starter. It's a good player to have. What you don't want is D's and F starters in the NFL. C-. He's been solid, played every game. Good against the pass, good against the run. Your thoughts on the Colts signing a safety, Camryn Bynum, who was with a really good Vikings defense last year.
Yeah, right. I think him coming from the Brian Flores team, that he's had great defenses everywhere he's been, Patriots, Miami, Minnesota. I think he'll be able to come and bring some good things to the Colts defense. He's been in the league a while now to where he can have some good experience. Pretty dang good move by them, by the Colts, I think. Yeah,
for a start.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the philosophy coming up here in a minute, but good start.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see it coming. There were no rumors of it coming out of anywhere.
Nope.
Hadn't seen the Colts associated with anything so far, except for some rumors that, again, we'll talk about here in a minute. But good start. They definitely needed a safety. Julian Blackmon is gone, clearly. They're not going to be re-signing him.
Mm-hmm.
They needed a replacement. Actually, they needed an upgrade, and that's what he is. Bynum is. And Braden Smith, how do you feel about that move?
I mean, pretty solid. There's definitely guys that are better at the position, but for the Colts, that's pretty good. He's when he's healthy, like you said, the best ability is availability.
Right.
If he could stay healthy, that's a great re-signing for them. Would have been nice to see since we didn't. I mean, he's a tackle. We didn't know Laramie Tunsil was available.
Yeah, you would.
Traded, but I mean, yeah, that's pretty good.
That would have been really nice. There's still some guys out there too. But I want to go through the headlines of today being the first day of free agency and kind of get you're our Colts guy, but you're also our NFL guy. Let's start with Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks. Seems like a weird move to get rid of all your pieces and then bring in a guy who has kind of proven himself 1 year. Your thoughts on Sam Darnold to Seattle, and will that work?
I mean, that one's strange. It's definitely strange. I mean, maybe if they would have kept Tyler Lockett and DK, would have been like, okay, maybe he could.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree.
But now I don't know.
It's hard to see the direction.
Yeah, definitely. That's a strange one. I don't know what their plan is really. Seattle.
And at times last year, the Seahawks were as good as any team in the NFC. I thought they have a lot of really good pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they know something we don't, or they're kind of restarting with Sam Darnold. Seems kind of strange.
Yes, that is definitely strange. I mean, he's not been completely consistent throughout his career. I mean,
yeah, until last year, he was probably considered a bust.
Definitely was. Yeah.
Another weird one, Justin Fields with the Jets. I kind of understand what the Jets are thinking. If they can get a cheap young quarterback and he blossoms into the player they thought he was going to be, then they've got a cheap guy and they can build around him. Kind of makes sense. I don't know what Justin Fields is thinking. He really needs to go somewhere where he is going to have good blocking, where he's going to have good weapons, and it's just a mess in New York. Oh, it does not seem like a good marriage to me. We have changed methods of recording. My lapel mics went out, so here we are now on the regular microphones. That's why I always come prepared, no matter what. If I had to bring out my handheld recorder and go back and forth, we can get it done, I promise. If we have to call each other on the phone, we can get it done. All right. So it seems like the C words are putting together a really good roster. The Bears made a couple of big moves today, both on the defensive line. Dangbo from the Colts and Grady Jarrett, a very good player from the Falcons, who's starting to get a little on the older end. But even though they got a couple of pretty good defensive linemen, I just wonder what they're doing, not spending all of their money, their capital, free agency, and draft capital on protecting Caleb Williams, getting him all the weapons that he could possibly use, and making him a success, and then work on the defense. I mean, if you go 7-9 next year and you're averaging 30 points a game, it'll be a success, and then you can start building the defense like the Colts did with Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, Edgerrin James, and then started going with the defense. I just know if I was a general manager, that's what I'd do. What about you?
Yeah, that makes no sense to me that they would go out and get 2 defensive linemen. It was like, it's weird. The first day of free agency too. It's like they were instant. They wanted these 2 dudes. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, my instant reaction would be get 2 linemen.
Yeah,
offensive linemen.
Right. Especially with them getting rid of Keenan Allen, or likely going to, since he's a free agent. That doesn't make much sense either, because it's not offensive lineman, but it's a skilled player or a weapon for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of Andrew Luck on the Colts a couple years ago when they didn't give him any help. So things didn't turn out too well. I mean, they definitely could have. He was a beast. And Caleb Williams has got a crazy skill set too. But, man, it does not make a whole lot of sense.
They might still have more moves to make. They might be planning on going all offense. I don't know. I'm not a general manager. They clearly have a plan, but to me, it seems like the Bears always do this. We know a franchise that does know how to win is the New England Patriots, and you can agree or disagree with what they're doing. And they haven't been very good for the last couple of years, obviously. But sometimes you have to rebuild from the very beginning, and today they decided to sign Milton Williams, a defensive tackle, Tonga, defensive tackle, Morgan Moses, a really nice offensive tackle, a little older again, Carlton Davis, the corner from the Lions, Robert Spillane, one of the best outside linebacker free agents out there, Harold Landry, a solid, probably better than solid edge rusher from Tennessee. They were so busy today, and they re-signed Austin Hooper and re-signed Jeremiah Farms, and they had some money to spend, and they did not waste any time. Is that significant to you, or is the Patriots still bottom?
Yeah, I think it'll definitely make a difference. Those are a couple pretty solid dudes.
Good, especially Carlton Davis.
Yeah, good corner, good edge rusher in there. It's definitely not going to make them worse, but their offense is still going to be very underwhelming, I would guess.
Quarterback showed signs last year. They
Yes.
still need some weapons.
Yes.
But
Yeah, Drake May's pretty great young guy.
Yeah.
They didn't get talked about very much, but he was pretty darn good, man, which is hard to watch because Patriots, I don't know about you, but
it was hard to watch last year. The offense was hard to watch for sure. Late in the season, though, it got a little better.
They did.
And I don't think they're going to be a factor this year.
nah.
But
Hey, coming up.
they might be coming, and that division is Buffalo. We know is going to win that division, but if they can be the second best team because Miami's probably not going to be bad. The Jets might be average at best, so they have a chance to be the second best team in the division. You do that, you got a chance to be a playoff team. So, interesting day for the New England Patriots. Again, this edition of the Colts Report with Eli Edwards is a little different. We have decided to meet every Monday to do Colts Talk because in the season it makes total sense to do it on Monday. Unless they play on Monday night, maybe we'll do it on Tuesday, but it makes total sense to do it on Monday, and then we'll do, of course, previews of games throughout the week. We'll talk anytime anything happens. We'll talk Colts, you and I. We'll talk on the phone sometimes if there's breaking news. And we'll try, the two of us, to make sense of Colts. But today, all we're doing is we happen to meet on Monday, and it happened to be the first day of free agency. So here we are talking about free agency. Not much news on the Colts again. Just, if you're listening, you've listened to the whole thing, so I don't need to go over it again. They've added a safety. Where else do the Colts need to add? And is there anybody in free agency who's caught your eye?
Last week we talked about middle linebacker, and Dre Greenlaw is a free agent who I think would be
That would
great.
be amazing. Yeah,
that dude was a beast before he tore. He still is, but man, in that Super Bowl against the Chiefs, before he tore his ACL, he was dominating that game. So that guy would be a great signing. And now they have an open DN spot. There's a couple of good DNs who are either requested a trade or in free agency. I don't know how likely these guys are to come to Indy, but Joey Bosa.
Be fantastic.
Yep. Free agent now. That would be a good one for them. And Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, sack leader. I don't know about that coming to Indy, but that'd be awesome,
Apparently
man.
some Indianapolis connections with him. And
oh, yeah.
So be interesting to see what happens there. The other one that would be very interesting to me would be Charvarius Ward at corner.
Oh, yeah.
If you could get him, again, another guy from that 49ers defense that not only can cover the pass but makes plays and helps out on the run. So let's hope that the Colts are active. I sent you a tweet from Jim Irsay. It said basically losing this year is not going to be tolerated. That only winning one Super Bowl in the 40 years that they've been here is intolerable, and they need to win more. And that's always good that the owners care, because there have been a lot of times, including his father, who didn't really care that much about whether they won or lost. He cared more about other things. So it's nice to have an owner who cares about winning. Now let's see if we have a general manager who knows how to do
it. Yeah.
Because he hasn't proven it yet.
He has not. I mean, he's probably, I don't know how secure his job is, but I know a lot of the fans aren't very happy with how he handles things in the offseason. He's not the guy that makes the big moves.
And that's a sound strategy if you do it right.
Yeah.
The problem is the last couple of years he hasn't done the draft right. He hasn't done free agency right. He certainly hasn't done quarterbacks right.
Not even close with quarterbacks. You just keep bringing in an old dude who is, I mean, other than Phillip Rivers was okay to above average. Took him to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Did they about beat the Bills that year? I
think
so.
And he was pretty good.
Yeah. But other than that.
And he was supposed to be the stopgap, but then he went out and did it 2 more years.
Yeah, and then it didn't get a whole lot better. I mean, Anthony Richardson, we don't know yet. That if that turns out to be a good pick for him, then his job might be a little more secure.
Chris Ballard's entire job rides on the shoulders of Anthony Richardson. everything that he has is tied to Anthony Richardson, and that's why the way they handled that last year was so messed up.
Yeah, the swapping in and out every couple of weeks. Like, I thought the first time they told him, like, oh, okay, you believe them usually when they say a guy's benched. But no, what did that last? 2 or 3 weeks? And like, nope, coming back, and then did it again.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa,
Yeah,
this is weird. It's like a high school team or something.
it was. Again, I had been 100% on the Shane Steichen bandwagon, and that was just coaching malpractice. That was just. I mean, maybe it was handled better internally than it was externally with the media. But man, if you look at it from the media perspective, it was just a crap show.
Yeah. Yes.
From all of them.
Definitely.
Starting with Anthony Richardson asking to come out of a game.
Now that was worrying, at least for the Colts fans I was around.
Yeah.
It was like, game's coming down to the line. You are the guy that everyone's going to look to. You're the starting quarterback. But I know this is true. I mean, even now in college, it's like everybody looks at your quarterback. Your quarterback wants to come out of the game.
Just because he's a little tired.
What in the world?
Yeah,
that
Donovan
was weird.
McNabb was vomiting between plays and was still going. In the Super Bowl, you can't do that. So it started with him, but instead of making things better, it seemed like the coaching staff just made things worse.
Yeah.
And of course, things just got worse from there. Somehow Ballard and Steichen saved their jobs, but again, we're not going to keep harping on that because it doesn't matter at this point. Your thoughts on Steichen and what he needs to accomplish this year?
By the sounds of it, if he was not completely in control as far as with the media and everything, benching Anthony Richardson and swapping back and forth, I think he needs to take control of what's going on around there, so it's not a total crap show like it was last year. He needs to put his foot down, be like, this is our guy, regardless of who it is. Hopefully for the Colts, it's Anthony Richardson. It turns out he can ball. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he's shown signs of promise, and then like with that last year, it seems like he's also shown signs of, we might need to get this guy out of here. I want to see him be settle on a quarterback. It's just gross when you have multiple quarterbacks coming or different quarterbacks being swapped out every couple of weeks. It's just like, ugh.
It doesn't feel right.
It doesn't at all. So I hope there's one guy they can keep in there. Hopefully Richardson, for all the Colts fans' sanity.
Yes.
Well,
I hope it's Richardson.
Yeah.
He has things that no other quarterback has. There's potential there that you rarely see in the NFL. I hope it's Richardson.
Yeah. A little Cam Newton-esque way he can.
Yes.
They run the ball with him.
A little nice. Lamar Jackson-esque in that he's going to beat the first guy or two.
Right.
And also struggles with the downfield throwing, but has really good vision and has a really good arm.
Mm-hmm.
Struggles a little bit with accuracy. So, yeah, the comparisons of potential are all-time greats.
Definitely.
So I really hope it's him, but I have my doubts with the toughness and the character. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. The thing on him coming out of college was his toughness, and but last year it just didn't show the way it should have. So Chris Godwin has returned to the Buccaneers. So there's one for the Colts. We were kind of hoping for that is not going to happen. Let's look at some other free agents who look like, let's see, DJ Reed has signed with the Lions, so that's a really big deal for the Lions to replace Carlton Davis, who went to the Patriots. Josh Sweat is gone to the Cardinals. By the way, I think the Cardinals are going to have a really good team this year, might be competing for that division championship. Is that a big deal for the Cardinals? And is it even a bigger deal for the Eagles, who I completely expect this team to fall apart next year?
Really?
All the character issues last year.
Okay.
Those things can last 1 year and you can be successful with it. It never if A.J. Brown is on that roster to start the year, I would be shocked. You can't do those kinds of things that they did and get away with it for more than 1 year. Remember the 85 Bears? Everybody knows about the 85 Bears. You know why they're not the 86, 87, 88, 89 Bears?
Fell apart.
Because they fell apart because they had too many egos, too many guys causing controversy. It just doesn't work in the long term. Last year, Will Rutherford and he kept saying, "Oh, there's too much turmoil in Philly," and I kept saying, it can work for 1 year. You can get through that turmoil for 1 year if you're talented enough, and they are for sure talented enough. That defense
was insane in that Super Bowl.
Carter.
Yeah.
I thought he was the MVP of the playoffs, Jalen Carter.
Yep.
I thought he was that good.
If they would actually give it to any player on the team, it might have been him.
Yeah. Obviously, Saquon Barkley was fantastic, and the reason that they were so successful through the air in the Super Bowl is because the entire defense was following Saquon Barkley around.
Yep.
So you could definitely argue that he was the MVP of the playoffs as well. But I thought Jalen Carter, every game in the postseason, they had to double, triple. He was all over the place. But I think they'll fall apart. I do. And I believe that the assisting with the tush push that rule is going to change, and that's going to kill. That's a huge advantage. I don't think people understand that if you get third and 3 or closer, it's almost an automatic first down.
It
when
really
you
is.
throw Saquon Barkley back there too, it's an automatic first down. That's a huge advantage that's about to go away.
You could definitely be right. That defense, if it doesn't fall apart, that defense is very scary.
Yes,
especially that D line.
But they did lose Josh Sweat, like I said today.
Yes, that's one piece gone already. You never know what Carter's going to do in the offseason. He's had some trouble in the past.
He has. He seems to have grown up a bit. He definitely seemed to be in better shape last year than he was coming into his rookie season. So those are good signs of maturity. Sometimes it just takes him a while to mature. As a fan, whenever you draft somebody like that, you always hope, maybe he's Warren Sapp. And about 23, 24 years old, he goes, I can be the best defensive player in the NFL. I'm going to start putting all my energy toward that. And you hope that's who Jalen Carter becomes, but we all know that there's a chance that he will not, because he wasn't in trouble just once in college.
No, he was not.
He was a problem for the coaching staff. He was not motivated a lot of the time, and that's not good when you're in college, because you should be motivated all the time if you're going to be an NFL player.
Yep, for sure. I agree.
Even if you're not, I mean, you're a college player. What do you think of the guys who give half effort because they're so much better than everybody else? They can give half effort.
Thankfully, this new coaching staff will let anybody have it.
Good.
So
I'm saying the concept of it, not that you have teammates like that.
Yeah,
but the concept
okay, yeah.
of a guy who's so much better than everybody, he doesn't have to work as hard, and the coaches just kind of let it slide. It just doesn't work, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's bad for the team.
Yeah.
You would like to look around and see all your brothers next to you who would give it everything they had for the guy next to you. Give every day, every practice, give the best effort, and then if you see a guy who just doesn't, it's like,
yeah. But like I said, the last 25, 26 games of his career, he's been nothing but fantastic and in shape and a menace to other teams. So hopefully he's grown up and the Eagles have a good one, but I just have my doubts that thing's going to last.
I hope you're right.
What do you want to see from the Colts in the next couple of days?
I want to see some big. It's not going to happen. It just won't happen. But
I understand your pessimism, but I think that tweet from Jim Irsay was saying to Ballard, go do something. Because seriously, we need to be among the top teams in the league, or you're not doing your job right.
Yeah.
And the only way you can't do that through the draft this year. The only way you're going to do that is through free agency and Anthony Richardson getting better, obviously. But I think they're going to make some moves. Let's just hope for the right ones. Offensive line, I still think they can upgrade on the offensive line. Maybe that's not the number one need. I think tight end, they are, without question, going to draft. I think if it's not Warren, it'll be Loveland. It'll be one of those two tight ends. They cannot go another year with that tight end crew. They just cannot.
No. Who even was the tight end? Was it Mo Alley Cox?
Mo Alley Cox. And,
yeah, no.
You know, again, their point is true that all four of those guys are pretty good. But you got to have one who's an actual NFL starter.
All the good teams have a great tight end.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and it's been way too long. It's really been since Dallas Clark where they've had a guy who could week in and week out be the target.
Mm-hmm.
You might have 100 yards if if the scheme was toward him and all that. It's been a long time since, and under Ballard, it's just been unacceptably bad.
Yes, definitely agree.
So maybe you do something in tight end, but again, unless it's an elite tight end, don't mess with it. Just, it's got to be a guy who can be elite, and that's why there's no doubt in my mind it'll be Warren or Loveland in the first round.
I sure hope so, especially after being just a little bit too late on how good of a tight end Brock Bowers is in the draft. Just what were they, 1 or 2 picks away?
Yeah, but Ballard swears he was taking Latu either way.
No way. No way. Well, maybe since Raiders have got their guy, they can go and get Michael Mayer. Yep. Their second tight end now. They drafted, was he from Notre Dame?
Yeah, is he good enough to be an elite?
Maybe.
They believe that Warren and Loveland are both elite. Of course, Warren from Penn State, Loveland from Michigan, expected to be. And of course, tight ends are hit and miss in the draft too. I mean, Pitts has been decent, but not worth a top 10 pick.
No.
And he looked like he was going to be the best, and every year the tight ends, the top 4 or 5, are just so much better than the rest, and it's just never the Colts anymore.
Nope. Because they always get to being around 500, or at least recently they have been just right around 500, missing out on some of the best picks. Or they suck. Get a really good pick. Get Anthony Richardson, and then Anthony Richardson's questionable on how good he is, but
yeah, and it's happened. But the standard needs to be it needs to rise some.
Yeah,
in Indianapolis for sure. I again not going to harp on this, but didn't like the not going in a completely different direction. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would really, if I had if I could have them do anything in the next few days, Charvarius Ward would probably be my number 2. Dre Greenlaw would be my number 1. Dre Greenlaw would be my number 2 choice. They need an elite player at those positions.
I would say Greenlaw would be my number 1 probably, because that dude's a freak, and you need a backer who would be like your quarterback of your defense. And then I would love to see either Charvarius Ward, or I want to see a good edge rusher. I want to see if you have a good edge rusher, it'll ruin the game. It'll ruin the offense.
That's right.
It's like I know he's not. None of those guys are as good as Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett is so good.
Yeah.
You can't pass. If you pass the ball, you better be getting rid of that thing quick.
That's right.
Because that dude's a freak. You know what? Since we've been dogging on Chris Ballard, we'll give him some credit for this, and I think he's pretty good at finding talent later in the draft. Or
at times he definitely has been.
I mean, was Jonathan Taylor a second rounder?
Yes.
I mean, I know second round is still pretty high.
Michael Pittman was second round as well.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of good things in the draft. He's had some swings and misses more lately, which has really cost them.
Right.
But if you take his draft record, it's as good as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it hasn't been at quarterback. His good draft record has not been at quarterback.
Correct.
And that's kind of derailed everything. And again, the Darius Leonard thing derailed everything as well. I think we missed something. We missed major news? Or maybe some major rumors.
We talked about DK, right?
Yes, we did. We did definitely talk about the Seahawks and what they're doing. Oh, let me ask you, how good does that make the Steelers, and does that make them the front runner for Aaron Rodgers?
Oh wow, okay, that's a good little idea there. I haven't really thought about that. Okay, I mean,
seems like the Seahawks were the favorite, and now they've signed Darnold. Sure looks like the Steelers are the favorite for. I don't know why the Vikings aren't going after Aaron Rodgers so he could make the Favre trio.
Yeah, my brother's a Vikings fan. I've been saying that to him every day, but he's like, no.
No,
he doesn't want him.
How would you turn down Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know. He's done.
Even last year, there were times where he was pretty bad with a pretty bad team.
Yeah.
But there were times last year he looked like the old Aaron Rodgers, and if he gets it in order, man, how could with a team as good as the Vikings?
Yeah, I know.
Even an average quarterback, because I'm not even convinced that Darnold's an average quarterback.
No, I don't think so. I think
an average starting quarterback. He's got talent. He's got he was drafted high for a reason.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trust him to be my quarterback. I know Seahawks fans are not convinced that he is the right guy.
If he went to the Steelers, that team could be good because their defense is always. I don't know. Since I've been alive, I don't think I've ever seen a bad Steelers defense.
No, it's crazy.
It is.
Since I've been alive, I mean, there was a time in '82 until Bill Cowher arrived, maybe '88, where they weren't very good. Somewhere in that era, where the defense wasn't very good. But seriously, from the moment they drafted Mean Joe Green in 1968, their defense has been good, literally for 70 years. It's crazy.
It's weird, man.
It is really weird. All right, before we go, let's take one last look. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, breaking news.
The Indianapolis Colts have signed former 49ers cornerback Charvarius Ward to a 3-year, $60 million deal, $35 million guaranteed. That's the move we were looking for.
There we go. All right, you were right. He said, "Get off." He said, "Let's go, Chris. Let's do something."
That's right, and they now have 3 pretty good corners, and that doesn't even include Kenny Moore, who's a really good nickel back. That could be a really good defensive backfield after signing a safety and a corner. Now, if Latu can become a pass rusher, if they could sign another pass rusher or draft one, because there's a position that could come in and make impact right away. I think that takes the Colts' potential on defense from a C- to a C+ right away, and that's without a draft and without the rest of free agency. So, good job, Chris Ballard. I can't imagine that could be thought of as anything other than a great deal, and the Colts' best free agency pickup in
a while.
I'm sure there are others. They're not coming to the top of my head.
In recent history, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. This is a guy who is impactful as any defensive back in the NFL. I believe, from what I've watched. Every time I watch the 49ers, and that team stacked with defensive players, he stands out every single time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And against the run as well. He's not soft against the run. Same with Jalen Johnson on the other side. Not quite the playmaker that Ward is, but really nice player, makes plays on against the run. Interesting. And I kind of expected it. I kind of expected him to go, I really need to make some kind of move.
I think they're a decent to good middle linebacker in the draft or wherever away. That defense is looking great.
They really need pass rushers. That
too. Yes.
Hopefully it's Latu. Hopefully it's Kwity Paye, but it sure doesn't look like it.
I don't know about that one.
We know now it's not Odengbo.
It is
because
not.
He is in Chicago. Although
gone.
The Bears think that he must think that he could. I mean, obviously that guy's got a ton of potential.
Mm-hmm.
We've been able to see that in Indianapolis. I would rather have, guys on the defensive line who are consistent every play than show potential. And
right.
Guys like Grover Stewart, who's just been so good in Indianapolis, and DeForest Buckner hasn't been as good as I'd hoped in Indianapolis, but still very good. So defensive tackle is probably the only position, running back, on the entire field that the Colts didn't need to upgrade before today. Now, I think you could throw corner in that. I think Jalen Johnson is a really good number 2 corner. Unfortunately, last year they asked him to be a number 1 corner because of all the injuries and the fact that they just didn't have a very good defensive backfield. But Jalen Johnson, who was a 4th-round pick from Auburn a couple of years ago, still young. I think they got 2 really good corners, and this was a really good day, I think, as a Colts fan.
Yeah, definitely. You spoke that one into existence, didn't you?
I did. I really did. I was hoping. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting them to make a move for a big time name. I don't think Chris Ballard could have not done that. With kind of the expectations being raised, he had to go do something, and hopefully that's not the end. Probably not going to make any bigger moves than that, but if they do sign Dre Greenlaw, we will have an emergency podcast.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time, Eli. This has been fun. Again, the longer we do this, the more we do it, the more Eli's going to take control and come up with his own ideas. Thanks so much to Eli for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report once again and for being our Colts guy and talking NFL and Colts with us every single week. I told Eli I'd kind of ease him into this and then expect him to come up with his own ideas and kind of take control of the podcast. And we will do that when he starts to feel more comfortable. Thank you for listening. If you are interested in seeing the Central Indiana Sports Report continue to grow and thrive, please share it with your friends and family. We thank you as always. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.